Today, we are diving deep into a really critical piece of the EU's new AI Act. Think of it as a mandatory passport that every high-risk AI system needs if it wants to operate in Europe.
I mean, it's the question that keeps regulators up at night, right? When you have an AI making these massive decisions about our health, our safety, our fundamental rights, how do you actually guarantee that it's safe and trustworthy? And who's on the hook when it's not? Well, the EU's answer is actually pretty elegant. It's a document called the EU Declaration of Conformity. And the passport analogy is perfect. Before any high-risk AI can even hit the market, its creator has to issue this passport, basically stamping it with an official promise that it meets all of the EU's really strict rules. So here's our game plan. We're going to break down what this AI passport is all about. We'll peek inside to see what info it has to contain. We'll figure out who is actually responsible for signing it, look at how this idea even came to be, and then, most importantly, we'll connect all the dots on why this one piece of paper is a huge deal for the future of AI. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This whole concept lives in Article 47 of the AI Act, and its purpose is simple: to create a formal, legally binding statement where the company that built a high-risk AI has to stand up and take full responsibility for it playing by the rules. Now, you gotta understand, this passport isn't for every little AI out there. No, it's specifically for the ones labeled high risk. We're talking about AI used in super sensitive areas. Systems that manage our power grids, or sort through job applications, or even help out judges in court. In these cases, a mistake isn't just a glitch, it could seriously impact someone's life. Okay, so what exactly is in this passport? What does a company have to tell the world about its AI? Well, all the juicy details are laid out in a part of the law called Annex V. At its heart, it's a signed promise. The company is putting it on the record, saying, yes, our AI system meets every single one of the EU's essential requirements. We're talking data quality, technical strength, human oversight, transparency, the whole shebang. And they can't just say, trust us, it's safe. Nope, they have to get specific. They have to identify themselves in the system, state exactly what the AI is supposed to do, and report its actual performance levels. They even have to describe the data they use to train it, how humans can step in and oversee it, and what they've done to handle the biggest risks. It's like a full DNA breakdown of the AI. This leads us to the million-dollar question. Who actually signs this thing? When the rubber meets the road, who's the one who's ultimately responsible? The AI Act is incredibly clear about this. All that responsibility, it lands squarely on the provider, and the law is very specific about who that is. It's the company that develops the AI and sells it under its own name. It doesn't matter if they paid another company to do the coding. If their logo is on the box, the legal responsibility is all theirs. And what's so brilliant about this is that signing that declaration is just the final step. It's really just the tip of the iceberg. To even get to that point, the provider has to have already done a ton of work, setting up risk management, ensuring good data, writing technical docs, planning for human oversight, and even setting up a system to watch the AI after it's out in the wild. The declaration is the capstone to this whole massive process. Now, this idea of the provider being the one to sign off wasn't a foregone conclusion. The rule itself actually went through years of pretty intense debates and back and forth within the EU. It was a real journey. As you can see from this timeline, Article 47 had a long road. It started back in 2021, and then for the next few years, both the European Parliament and the Council jumped in with their own changes and refinements until everyone finally landed on the version we have today. And here's one of the most interesting debates they had. Who should actually write the thing? For a while there, some folks in the European Parliament were arguing that a government body should be the one to issue it, for an extra layer of official verification. But the final law said no. It went right back to that original principle: the creator, the provider, has to be the one to take direct responsibility. This table sums it up nicely. You can see the core ideas, like provider responsibility and keeping the document for 10 years, they stayed the same. But look at that one crucial change to the format. The final version says the declaration has to be machine-readable. Now, that might sound small, but for regulators, it's a total game changer. It means they can automatically process and analyze compliance data at a huge scale. So, let's bring it all home. Why does this single document, this AI passport, matter so much in the grand scheme of things? Because you really have to understand, this is so much more than just bureaucratic box ticking. This declaration is basically the central pillar holding up the EU's entire strategy for AI safety.
First and foremost, its job is to create a crystal clear, unbreakable chain of accountability. When a provider signs this, they're creating a legal line that connects them directly to every person who uses that AI. There's no more finger pointing. It's obvious who's responsible if things go wrong. And second, it forces transparency. For the very first time, regulators and even the public will get a standardized snapshot of what a high-risk AI does, how well it does it, and what safeguards are in place. This kind of mandatory disclosure is absolutely fundamental for building public trust. And really, it all boils down to this one powerful sentence from the law itself. By creating this document, the provider shall assume responsibility. That's it. That's the legal act that puts the burden of proof right where it belongs, on the people who created the technology. So the EU has built this passport for high-risk AI. It's a powerful tool, for sure. But the big question we're all left with is, can a system built on formal declarations and paperwork really keep up with the breakneck speed of AI innovation? That's definitely something to think about.